Okay, so tell us a bit about the work you do as artistic director of Birds of Paradise Theatre Company, and how do you decide what work to produce?
So yeah, I've been artistic director of BOP since 2012, so almost 12 years now. I started with a co-artistic director, and then after a while I got rid of him, and so now I've got the whole company to myself. Not quite true, but almost. And the company's been going for 31 years almost, so quite a while. And I think for me, the the, the role is best explained with this idea of putting disabled stories onto the stage. And that sounds very simplistic and very, you know, what's the big deal with that? But if you look at our culture, there's a real lack of disabled stories in our culture. You don't really know about the disabled people of the last century or the last decade even. They're quite missing. So I feel like Bob has a role to play in putting those stories onto the stage. And that can be any number of things. Like the first show that I produced was a sketch comedy called Wendy House, which was in 2014. And that again was a very sort of standard two-actor sketch comedy where they meet online on some app, they get together, and then he comes round to her apartment and discovers after a while that he's got no legs. So immediately having to navigate what that is and how that works. So this idea of taking stories that are quite familiar, like a sketch comedy, and then putting disability into them is something that I find very interesting. This idea that the stories that we have to tell aren't radically different, but if you take them to a different lens and to a different perspective, they've got something different to say. I think quite interesting. So that was Wendy House, and then there was a show called Purposeless Movements, which was a physical theatre piece with four disabled guys got up to tell you about their lives and to explain about what masculinity meant to them as disabled men. And that went to the Edinburgh International Festival and did all sorts of work in terms of reaching a new audience. And then we got another production called My Left Right Foot, which was a musical co-produced with the National Theatre of Scotland. And that took the story of Christy Brown, who wrote My Left Foot, and asked the question, well, if an amateur theatre company tried to put this on stage, how how wrong could they get it? How, how, how inappropriate could it be? So Maleficent is a very in your face musical that wasn't went out in 2018 to the Edinburgh Fringe. And then toured to Japan and Brighton and other places as well. And was really well received as a big scale, quite shocking but also quite endearing musical about disability, but the key there was that people came for a great night at the theatre. They didn't come to be told about what it's like to be disabled, because that's not a very exciting thing to tell people on. But a great big, very funny musical is something to tell people on. So I guess I'm telling you about those productions to explain how I pick things. It's very much about what will attract audiences, what will, see, I hate theatre that's very navel gazing and it's about what I want to say. I mean, obviously it's about what I want to say, but it's about what audiences want to hear and what they want to find out about. So it's about being very aware of where the audience is and what they're interested in and what will entertain them, what will surprise them, what will educate them, although that's not a very popular word. I think we're all, I think if you come away from a piece of theatre having laughed very hard, having cried, and thinking about something in a different way, then job done. That's good. Yeah.
I love that, and it feels appropriate now to talk a little bit about your next production, which is called Don't Make Tea. Presumably this follows in that vein. What is the play about, and what can audiences expect? Is it more of that sort of angle of entertainment and educational edutainment, I think that is the awful
Oh,
way of describing it.
oh, I, I just got a flashback from sort of 1990s TV films that talk about education. Yeah, that is what we are talking about. And Gourmet Tea came about because we wanted to make something that spoke to disabled people that maybe don't already go to the theatre. And an issue like the welfare state and disability benefits is obviously very relevant to a lot of disabled people. Nobody would argue that the welfare state isn't in a very bad place. It needs to be improved. But also, it's not just about money. There's something more than that. All the money in the world doesn't fix things.
Mhm.
It helps, and it would help massively, but it doesn't fix everything. And often a question about how and why we support disabled people in society. I mean, most theatre-goers are quite left-wing liberal people who go, yeah, we must support disabled people. The welfare state is one method of doing that. But why? Why can we support disabled people? Let's really unpick that. Let's really get under the skin of that. So Rob Growing, who wrote Gourmet Tea, is an old friend of mine. We worked together about 15 years or more ago. And he came up with this idea of a sort of procedural piece of theatre that looked at a benefits assessment. Because benefits assessments are horrendous. Like we all know how bad they are. They're notoriously uncomfortable, invasive. You're having to talk about yourself a- at your worst, and that's not what most people ever have to do. They're almost the opposite of a job interview, where you make things up about how great you are. So all of these ideas from Rob Tech and said, well, what if we make a procedural drama to look at this? I said, yes, great. But also, what good is we building access to the production? So things like audio description, sign language interpretation, captions are all built into the production. So I gave that to Rob as a challenge to go, could these aspects be built in? And he met that challenge beautifully, like perfectly. So got me key is the story of this woman Chris whose impairment is getting worse gradually. Now she can't work, she can't even do part-time work, and she has to be assessed for disability benefits. But we're now about 10 years into the future, and the government have come up with this great idea of getting everybody back into work because that will fix everything. So the benefits assessor comes along to give her the assessment and to try to get her back into work, but it all going horribly wrong. And I can't explain how it goes wrong without giving it all away, but understand that things get pretty violent, get quite messy, and there's a lot of comedy in that as well.
Sounds brilliant. I'm really looking forward to seeing it. I want to kind of just talk a bit about disabled representation in theatre. Has it got any better in recent years, and what would make the biggest difference for disabled performers and creatives?
I started, this is where I started to sound very old, but I started performing as a disabled actor around about 2001, so 22 years ago. And undeniably, things will get better in that time. Things are definitely better. And there are more opportunities for disabled people to become actors. There's more access to theatre schools. There's more access to youth theatre. And there are slightly more disabled people on stage. But things have got a long, long way to go.
Mm.
So, it's by no means great. I don't think it's even good. I think it's a little bit better. I think TV took a big step forward because EastEnders, Coronation Street, Emma Gale, the big soaps started to have disabled actors as part of their ongoing cast. So being into your living room every night where disabled characters on TV in very everyday situations, that made a massive step forward for disabled actors on TV. We haven't seen the same thing in theatre. There's still a real lack of disabled actors who are just on stage because they're great actors, who are playing, I don't know, Romeo or playing any other part just because they're great actors. That happens sometimes, but really it's not a lot. It's very rare and it's still very noticeable when it does happen. So that's what needs to happen. Is that casting disabled actors in theatre has to become unremarkable. It has to become something that the audience go, oh yeah, great, there's a disabled guy up there. That's no big thing. And the only way to do that is by casting disabled people more and more and more. And the production of Hadestown that's just opening in the West End, and whatever you think of the show, I noticed that in the ensemble there's a woman with one arm where it's cut off at the elbow. And what's great is that she's just part of the ensemble. She's a great dancer and singer, and she's just doing her part and getting on with it. They're not hiding the impairment, they're not pretending it's not there, but also that's not the point of it. That's great. So things are beginning to go in the right direction, but they're not anywhere near there yet. We also need to just have more disabled people on stage playing overtly disabled parts as well. I reject this idea of an either or. I want both. I want everything. And I think, not to get too political, but things like the Globe casting a non-disabled actor to play Richard III, it's quite a step backwards in those terms because, we're told over and over again that there's not any parts for disabled actors. And then when there are, they get played by non-disabled people. I think you can understand why people are a little bit peeved about that.
You mentioned performing back in started performing, was it 2001?
Yes.
You said. Um, you also direct, so I'm gonna ask a slightly mean question now. If you had to choose between performing or directing, which would you choose?
I mean, my gut flipping response is neither. They're both horrible. They both involve a lot of agony that I don't know why we do over and over again. What should I do? I love being on stage because I love connecting to the audience. I love that moment where you can look at a member of the audience in the eye and see that there's a real connection there. Um, that moment first happened to me about 22 years ago. I saw them cry as I was giving a monologue, and I thought, wow, to have that power over someone is incredible. But I love directing because I can tell stories as a director that I couldn't tell as an actor. So it gives me flexibility and it gives me a wider range of work that I can do. Pardon me. But if I had to choose, it would be acting. I think that moment that you exist in a space with a member of the audience and that you connect with them in a way that is very rare but very special, that is incredible. You can't pay for that. Well, you can pay for that, but you can't replicate that.
Now I'm gonna give you back the sort of the performing and directing side of what you do, but I'm going to take you and put you in the audience. What
Yeah.
do you like watching the most?
Well, go on. I'm I am a sucker for a musical, and it's quite an unpopular opinion. I think in the UK we're quite snobbish about the musical. We're getting better in the last sort of 5 years to 10 years. The UK musical become a bigger and bigger thing. So I think we're getting better, but we're still a little bit snobbish about it. I think the way that a musical can convey a story and, like I said, can connect to the audience in a way that a straight play can't always do that. It's quite something. I think we're more forgiving of a musical than we can be of a play. And so for me, yeah, you'll always see me in the West End trying to see a musical over something more, I don't know, straight-laced or direct.